Welcome to the Sponsored Rider Club podcast, your guide to motorsports sponsorship. Here's your host, Josh Weesey.
Welcome, everybody, to the Sponsored Rider Club podcast, which is powered by AMSOIL. This is part of our live series. This is actually the 10th installment of our live episodes, and this one is featuring Megan Meyer. She is an NHRA dragster and also one of the smartest people I think I've ever met. Extremely competent in marketing, in social media, in sponsorship, all the above. She was originally featured on episode 52 of the show. I highly encourage you to go back and listen to that episode as well. This one is straight from Facebook Live. So Megan hopped on. We did a recording. It was great. But as part of the Facebook Live experience, there's a couple things that come along with that. One is people are actually typing in questions as part of the live feed. They ask a question in the comments section, and we answer those questions live. So you'll hear that as part of the show. Plus, the audio is just not quite the same. So when we're doing the Facebook Live, the audio is honestly a little rough. But I want to get it out there in the audio-only version, which is this one you're listening to right now, so that you don't have to listen to the actual Facebook Live video. You don't have to watch that video. So that's why this is out there. But I highly encourage you to have a listen. Let me know your feedback. Go ahead and leave a rating on iTunes. All right, that's it. I'm not going to talk too much in this one. We're going to get right into the show. Hello. Welcome to the 10th. That's right, number 10, the 10th installment of the Sponsored Rider Club podcast live experience. Really excited about this show. We've got a special guest coming on, Megan Meyer, and she was originally featured on episode 52 of this show, which was way back in the day. We're about to release 92 tomorrow, so big time, back in the day, NHRA, good stuff. All right, what I want to do is cover a few things, and then we're going to get into the topic of the show. So, first off, this show, like I said, it's powered by AMSOIL, and I just have a few things I want to tell you about AMSOIL. You can actually go to our Facebook page, scroll down a little bit. There's a cool video of a new test lab that they just featured at AMSOIL. It's pretty cool. For me in my day job, I actually work at a test facility, and it's pretty exciting stuff. And I can see what AMSOIL is putting into their test program too, and it's absolutely amazing stuff. So I really encourage you to go check that video out and see some of the cool capabilities that they have. That's one thing that I've always liked about AMSOIL in the past is their ability to share what's going on from the inside, whether it's data or information or stats or I don't know. They put their product out there and they really stand by it. So definitely go and check that out. Scott, what's up, man? Thanks for joining, and really excited about this one today. So a couple of things I want to tell you about before we get in the show is one is the topic of the show today is around how you can basically massively improve your sponsorship program by stepping a little bit outside of your industry. We have this term called endemic and non-endemic sponsorship. And endemic essentially means it's within your industry, within your world. So for example, like if you're a racer and you have tires, that is an endemic sponsor. If you are a racer and you're using some sort of like a drink product, that's non-endemic. So it's outside of the industry. And we're going to talk a little bit about that because it's pretty important. There's a huge, massive world out there of sponsorship dollars and businesses. And if we can, as a group, as a team, pull in these other sponsors, we can make a really big impact. So we're going to talk a little bit about that when Megan jumps on. Welcome, Travis, Steve. How's it going? Thanks for joining. People who are joining, if you're on listening to replay right now, go ahead and hit hashtag replay in the comments. And if you're not, if you're live right now, go ahead and leave the comments. Megan's on as well. Hello, Megan. Leave some comments there. Invite your friends. Share it to pages. This is a big deal. We're talking about non-endemic sponsorship and improving the entire motorsports industry right now. So that is something you want your friends to be a part of. So either way, before we get into the show, there's a couple of things I do want to go over. And another one is GSP XTV axles. So I'm pretty excited. In about a month from now, I'm going to be with Bold Racing out at Vegas to Reno. I'm going to be helping them pit. Again, I did it last year as well. And by helping them pit, I mean I'm just there to look pretty. I don't even know what I'm doing. But I don't really have to worry about certain things like their axles. They got really strong axles that they're going to be running this year. And it's their first time running the long suspension, too, so I'm pretty excited to see how that performs. For people who don't know, Vegas to Reno is a huge off-road race. It's the biggest one in North America, and Bold Racing is going to be hitting that with the GSP axles on, so I'm excited to be a part of that entire thing. I'm also going to be set up shop there, sitting in the Bold Racing booth, doing some podcasting. We got some huge guests lined up, like Craig Scanlon's going to be there. We got Kristen Matlock's coming back. Lindsay Geiser's coming back, so it's going to be huge. But I don't know. Still got to wait. Got another month or so before we can hit that one. Kevin, what's up, man? Scott, again. Hashtag replay. You're already on the replay, Scott? Come on now. Well, hey, what I want folks to do again is just as you're listening, feel free to invite friends, leave comments, especially questions, because Megan and I are going to talk for a little bit about a few topics, and then we're going to open it up to questions for the audience. So if you've never been a part of our live show, we like to answer a lot of questions from the audience, and there's just a ton of information that you're thinking in your head. Like if you got that question in your head, somebody else has a question too. So if you're thinking it, type it out, and if we can't get to it now, we'll try to get to it after the show too. All right, looks like Scott, I will come meet you at the pit by my house. Okay, we'll take that as long as you fry up some hot dog. Fry? I don't know if you grill up some hot dogs. That's more like it. Well, one thing I want to do now is actually see if I can get Megan on the call, and then we can get into this episode. All right, so again, if you're listening, just go ahead and start typing in your comments in the comments. Hey, that was easy. You're on. Can you hear me? Oh, you can.
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yeah. This is easy. The last one. That old Joey Sylvester guy, he doesn't know how to run this Facebook Live. No, our last one was not a disaster, but let's just say we had to kill the entire episode, start over the new one. It was all good.
Yeah.
But welcome. How are you?
Good. How are you doing, Josh? Thanks for having me on.
Yeah, I appreciate it. It's always good to reconnect with folks after it's been a while. So you were last featured on episode 52. And I'm about to release 92 tomorrow. So it's actually been a while. It feels like it was yesterday, but it's been a while.
Yeah, I know. There's been a lot that's been going on since then. So time's been flying by.
Yeah, and I'm excited to catch up on some of those things too. I mean, we got a lot to talk about. One, I already prepped the audience a little bit. We want to talk a little bit about the non-endemic sponsorship, which is, sponsors outside of the industry. So NGK has been one of your big sponsors, but that's an endemic sponsor. It's part of our industry. They make spark plugs. We use spark plugs in our engines. That's part of it. But you've got some new folks that have been coming on since we last talked, and they're representing the outside of the motorsports world, and they're making their way in, bringing in more support, I guess. So we want to talk about those things. But where would you like to kind of start the conversation?
No, we can just dive right into it if you want to. I mean, if everyone's ready for it.
Yeah, let's do it. Jake, you ready? Zach, you ready? Who else? Scott? I know Scott's ready. He's always ready for this stuff. Yeah, let's do it. Go ahead, Megan. Why don't you kick it off?
Okay, cool. So, like you were saying, one of the sponsors that I've brought in from outside the industry is Menards retail stores, and also Celsius, which is a fitness drink. And so with those two, we've created a retail partnership. And Menards is already kind of involved in racing with NASCAR and the Truck Series and all that. So for them to come into drag racing is new within the past 10 years. I would say they've sponsored a few teams on and off before. And so basically what we did is I worked with a marketing group. So I didn't do it by myself. Yeah. And so with this marketing group, they've been able to find the contact at Menards and go to Menards with a product and say, hey, I have a driver who loves this product. It's not sold in your stores, but your competitor might sell it. Would you be interested in selling it in your retail stores at this race because she or he will be driving at the drag strip near there. And we can come and bring the car, do a retail display with the car to promote Menards and also to promote the products. And then go and compete at the race and then see how many products they sold over the weekend. And then just go on to the next race. So that's kind of how it all started. I started working with Menards at the end of last year. We did a one race deal with a popcorn company that's based out of Chicago. And they sponsored me at a race in Minnesota that I had in August. And so it's almost been a full year since this got started. So with that, we did exactly what I said. The marketing group that I work with, they set everything up for me so I didn't have to really worry about all the little details of how much Menards would sell in the store, what types of popcorn flavors they would sell. So they took care of all that stuff for me and where it would be located in the store and all that. And so basically all I had to do was show up to the Menards store a day or two before the race with my race car. We usually do it in the evening, so between 4 and 6 p.m. when people are getting off work and they're going to the store to buy groceries or home improvement stuff or anything. Menards has it all. So we'd go there when it's the busiest time, and then the guys that are coming in to shop, they see a race car and they want to know what that is. And so I'll tell them all about our team, tell them about the drag races going on, and invite them out to the races. And then I'll give them a free sample of the product that we're promoting at the time. And then tell them, you know, it's in this aisle. You can go buy it for a few bucks if you want to and take it home with you and share it with your family.
I'll tell you what, there's a couple things I got to pull out of that. First off, that's way more elaborate than what I was expecting it to be. It's so cool. First off, I love popcorn. So let's just put that out there. That's probably the most important thing of what you said is popcorn. I love it. All different types of flavors and renditions and whatever. I love it. But two, you don't have to do it alone. So you said that. You said you brought in a marketing team. You hired somebody or whatever it is. Maybe it's friends. Everybody, I think, has some friend of the family that like is in marketing school or has a marketing team. Or if not, there's that whole friendly Google. You can go out there and Google and find somebody. But it's okay to ask for help. And especially in things like this is a new endeavor probably for you. It's like you're not going to necessarily know all these things. I actually have some marketing like education, and I would have never thought of all those things that they just listed off there about, you know, the race in your area and like I don't know, that was pretty good stuff. Now I could bring in a top alcohol dragster and put it in a parking lot. I get that. That's sweet. But all those other little details, I would have never thought about that stuff. That's good.
Yeah, and I don't know if I mentioned this, but the marketing team that I work with, they're based out of Kansas City, so which is just an hour away from me. So it's really great that they're a local company, but they work worldwide with other drag racing teams. They used to also do IndyCar and NASCAR, but now they just strictly do NHRA because that's where they're getting the most bang for their buck and where these big retail companies that they're working with are getting their ROI that they're looking for. So they have been a good family friend. I've known them for a long time. I did an internship during college there for one summer. So it is kind of, you know, part of the family, the guys that work there. It's a very small group, but they know what they're doing and they're really great at their job. So we reached out to them last year after we did our Menards display and everything. That was just a one-time deal, just to kind of see how it went in Minnesota. And from there, we went to them and said, hey, this was a lot of fun. We loved it. Menards loved it. Let's continue it on to 2018. So we've been working with them since November last year to kind of get brands that Menards would want to put in their store. So Celsius was one that we came up with together. And Celsius is kind of like an energy drink. And I don't like energy drinks. I don't like coffee or really any soda at all. I just strictly drink water. So it was something new for me to try, but When I had my first can, I loved it. And so what's great about Celsius is they have tons of flavors, and they have different types with carbonated or non-carbonated, whatever you like. And then they also have a brand called Heat, which is more of a pre-workout. It has a lot more caffeine in it. And so it's really great to use on race day for when we're going through rounds and need to keep energized. And because a lot of times I'm not eating a lot when we're racing on Sunday. So just another way to get kind of some energy while we're going through the rounds. And it's also, it's very little calories. There's only 10 calories per can, but they're proven to burn calories. And so it's a really healthy alternative for energy drinks. So I highly encourage everyone to check them out. They are in Target now, and they are in CVS, I believe. And so for them to branch out into other stores, all got started with us bringing them into Menards. So it's helping out them grow their brand. It's helping Menards make some money by selling some product in their stores. And then it's also helping us by getting extra exposure by going to the retail stores and talking to people that have never been to a drag race before, or they've never been up close to a race car. They get their picture taken. They can bring their kids and put their kids inside the car. So it's a lot of fun to do these. It's very interactive. And I mean, there's really nothing bad that can come from it.
Yeah, first off, too, I want to just highlight something. If people haven't already been following Megan, I encourage you to do that. And what I want you to pay attention to is how the things she's talking about right now, from a passion standpoint, that's what she lives. So from like a fitness standpoint, she'll mix in, I say it like you're some third party person that doesn't exist. You're sitting right here. So what you do, at least I see you do this, is you'll mix in some fitness shots, and then there'll be another shot like you standing next to your car, and then you can see you're drinking a Celsius. Like, I can believe that. Now, if you told me you were drinking something, if you told me you're representing Monster right now, Monster doesn't go after the fitness crowd, right? So it's a little bit different. Like, I don't know if I believe it as much, but I believe the Celsius piece. I'm actually reading a book right now. It's called, I actually don't even know the full title, but it's called like The Power of Why, or Why, by Simon Sinek. And it talks about how the true way to like sell something really is to get to the emotional side of a person, and it has to line up. Like, if I was to sit here and say, I'm not like a big partier or a drinker or anything. If I was to sit here and try to sell Jack Daniels, I'm not going to be able to do it. But I can sell AMSOIL because I use that product and I like it, and I've used it for a long time. So those things line up, but some things don't. So I just want people to take note of that. Go over to Megan's page and just kind of go through, and you'll see how it makes sense that she's supporting that brand.
Yes, and to branch off of that, one of the things that we first did when I started working with this marketing company was we sat down and we listed off my hobbies, what products I use currently, what things I would be interested in using. And one of those was energy drinks that they brought up. And I told them, just like I just told you guys, I don't like energy drinks. And so they came to me with Celsius, and immediately I loved it. It's made with green tea. There's very little sugar in it, and so it is very healthy. And like you said, I'm very into the healthy, active lifestyle. I've been into it. I got started in it in college. And so since then, I've been able to just kind of have a passion for working out, going to the gym, doing stuff outside just to have a healthy, active lifestyle. And so Celsius was a perfect fit with my brand. And so it was just a win-win for all of us.
Yeah, definitely. Well, that's a good example. And Travis has just left a comment, and he nailed the quote from Simon Sinek. People don't buy what you do, they buy why you do it. So if you said, hey, Celsius is just a great energy drink, people are like, okay, cool. There's other energy drinks out there. Why is this one better? Well, no, they believe in the same thing that I believe in. And, I think that's good. And I love what you just said there. Anybody can do that right now. Sit down and make a list of things that they already use, right? What are products that I already use? And now you've got something to say, okay, I already have some belief in these products. Why not reach out to them? Maybe it's, I just noticed this the other day. Maybe I should reach out to these folks, but I use, like, all my shoes are Adidas. I don't do it on purpose. I just, for whatever reason, I'm drawn to Adidas brand. I even had Adidas cologne for whatever reason. And I didn't even know that they made cologne, and I just happened to know I had it. And it's just weird. So I'm naturally drawn to that brand. Why would I not want to represent something I'm naturally drawn to?
Yeah, exactly. And yeah, I mean, I also love Adidas. I just switched from Nike to Adidas, so I'm on the same boat as you.
Yeah.
But
Look at this here,
yeah,
too.
just so
I'm not lying. These are my Adidas sandals. I bought these, and I was like, well, these look cool. And then I put them on my shelf, and there's 3 other Adidas shoes right there. Like, what? How did this happen? But anyway, last time I take my shoes off on a live video. Okay, I promise. But hey, we got a question here from Zach, Zach Grant. So, first off, he left a great comment here. Sponsorships are definitely not handed to anyone. Well deserved, Megan. It's a lot of hard work. So he's looking for something small to cover entry fees for big money bracket racing. So do you have any recommendations on that?
Yeah, so my sister is actually working on this right now for her bracket racing super comp car that she has. So it's funny, I actually just talked to her about it this morning and we made a spreadsheet of everything. So basically what we did is she listed out what races she was going to and then what the entry fee is for each of those. And then from there, she made 3 different options. So there's option A, B, and C. So option A is for someone to purchase the entry fee for all of her races, which for the rest of this year, it ended up to be $2,600 or $2,500 to $2,600. And that was for the rest of the year, just entry fee only. And then, so option B was if she just went to 2 tracks and he only paid for the entry fee at those races at those 2 tracks that she'd go to. So that was just a total of $700. And so then option C was kind of a mix of both. So it was option B combined with one big money bracket race, which for us, it would be in Memphis, in Texas, or St. Louis. And so option C was they would pay for entry fee, the $700 from option B, and then pick one of those big money races from option A and add that on to option C. So it would be $700 plus whatever the entry fee was at that other race that they wanted to purchase. So we listed out all those prices and made a nice spreadsheet with it. And then we did some options of what advertising we would do for them at those races. So option A, we do the most advertising, obviously. Yeah. So we do at least 1 or 2 social media posts that weekend mentioning their company. We would hang a banner up at the trailer. We would have the sponsor mentioned on the PA, and then on the race car.
We lost you for a second, but you're back. Woo! Sorry, you can keep going. We lost you for like literally 2 seconds, but you're back.
Okay, yeah. So just to summarize, it was 1 or 2 social media posts mentioning that company, a banner hanging up in the trailer for people to see, and this company being announced on the PA system, and then also they would get the largest decal on the car, which could be anywhere from 12 inches to 30 inches wide.
Yeah.
And so that was all for option A. So then option B, we would just cut that in half. We would just have a smaller sticker on the car, so probably a maximum of 14, 16 inches on the dragster. And also do 1 social media post mentioning the company per weekend, and then having it mentioned on the PA. And then option C was just kind of a mix of both. So it could be 2 social media posts per weekend, a bigger sticker but not quite as big as option A, mentioning on the PA system, having a banner, and then we could hand out just any material that they have, so brochures, hero cards, things like that. So that was just kind of what we did, because the bracket races, they're not televised, but sometimes the tracks could do a live feed on Facebook or YouTube, so that would help her out to get more exposure besides the physical entry of other racers that are there that could get the reach to our sponsor and then the spectators. So I think that would be the perfect option for you guys to just make a spreadsheet of what your entry fee is, what the prices are, and then what can you do to advertise that company to help them get their return.
Yeah, I love that. And I also love the detail that you went into, right? It's not just like, oh, I'm putting a sticker on. It's what's the size of the sticker? How many spectators are going to view that? What's the potential of Facebook Live also coming in and having some additional exposure to that? And once you start breaking it down, I mean, I think anybody, whether it's a grassroots ATV racer, or a top fuel NHRA person, anybody can start breaking these things down and start understanding all of the different elements that they actually have exposure to. It's pretty incredible, especially when you throw in social media. And it gets wild how many little things that you can factor in to say, I can give you this exposure. So it's good stuff.
Yeah, and one of the biggest things is when you're putting a promotional packet together to give to sponsors is to really focus on the numbers. So one of the things we did is we added up all of the friends that she has on her personal Facebook, how many likes are on her Rachel Meyer Racing Facebook page, and then how many likes are on the Randy Meyer Racing Facebook page, which is our whole team put together, and then what's on her Instagram and what's on the Twitter that we share, which is at Meyer Sisters, by the way. So we added up all those numbers, and it was a little over 8,000 followers that she has between Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter. And so we included that and said you would get exposure of over 8,000 eyes on social media. And so another thing you could do is start a newsletter. So that's one of the things that I tell people when I talk to them at the track is to start a newsletter, get a website and get a sign up button where people can sign up for your newsletter, and just send them emails of what race you're going to, what happened during the race, and then if you're not racing for a few weeks or you have a break off, just tell them what's going on in your life, because that's how you get connected to people on another level. And with that, you can grow exposure through that. And that's just another number that you can take to sponsors and say, hey, I have 500 email newsletter subscribers that we could send out a promotional newsletter that's an ad for your product. I can send to my 500 followers.
Yeah, that's awesome. I mean, almost every website that's out there now, whether it's a Wix site or Shopify, or if you have something custom made, you can type in a blog, or you can have a pop-up for email subscribers to come in. Yeah, if you get 100 email subscribers, or let's just say it's 50, that's 50 more people that are very highly likely to actually open up your content. If someone subscribes to your content, it's a pretty good chance that you're going to be able to get them to actually open it, right? And email, there's a whole bunch out there in email marketing. We could do several episodes just on email marketing, but I'm really glad you brought that up, because we don't talk much about email marketing on the show. I don't even know if we've talked about it at all, unless last time when you were on, we may have talked about it, but we don't really talk about it very much. So that's a very good topic for sure. And just to call Jake Coleman out, yes, you're late, but welcome anyways. We're glad to have you here. And I did want to just read a quick comment here from Rick Belden Photography. And sounds like Rick gets a lot of exposure to racer, and he has a lot of really good things to say about you. So, that's always good to see, especially when we see photographers on here. They do truly get to see everybody. Like, they are the networking experts. And so it's good that he's got positive things to say about you. Well, cool. Any other questions?
Yeah, and so...
Well, go ahead. You keep talking. Everybody else listening, type away. Get this question on there. Actually, you're probably like this. But type your questions away, and we'll try to get to one or two more before we close things out. But go ahead, Maggie. Keep going.
Okay. Yeah, and I just wanted to add on to the email marketing. So yeah, you're exactly right. It's just another set of eyeballs that can view your products or view your email. And what I use is MailChimp. It's free. It's super easy. You can just drag and drop. but you don't have to make your emails super long. You can write out a press release if you want to, or you can just do some bullet points, just a few paragraphs, or just a bunch of pictures. It can really be anything you want. There's really no template that it has to look like, or it doesn't have to be super fancy, or, I mean, you want it to look good. You want it to represent your brand and your team, but don't put a whole lot of thought into it, because it's really the easiest way to track numbers. So you can see exactly who opened it, who clicked on a button that went to a website, either your website or a sponsor's website. It tells you every single thing you want to, and it's free. And also, this is how we've been able to keep our sponsors over the years, is because of email marketing. So one of the concerns that I get from sponsors when I'm talking to them is that they will find a driver or a rider and they'll sponsor them, and then they'll just never hear from them again. And they could be posting stuff on social media all the time and tagging their brand, but the person that decided to sponsor you may not see that. And so for you to add them onto your email list and have an email go directly to them is the best way to just stay in touch, and for them to keep up what you're doing, because they're probably not going to spend their time to personally look up every single driver that they sponsor and see exactly how they did at their race. And so, so that's one of the main concerns that I get back from sponsors, is that they just don't hear from people once they decide to sponsor them. And so just sending an email just to say, hey, I have a race coming up this weekend. I'll be here. It's at this time. We're going to make this amount of runs. You can catch it on TV here, or see it on my Facebook Live here, or whatever. And then just send them another email a few days later and say how you did and what happened. And that's really all you need to do for them to keep up to date, and for them to remember your name at the end of the year when they're figuring out who they're going to sponsor for the next year.
Right. Well, what you just said there, like, seriously stressed me out, and then my head blew up for a minute, because I never even considered that. If you are doing everything right, your sponsor, the person who makes the decision, might not even know it. They might not even know it, because social media, it throttles back what you're sharing. So if you have 1 million followers, you know, only a couple percentage are actually going to see those posts. If you tag somebody's business, you never know who's actually looking at it. Whew, that's stressful. I need to talk more about this stuff, because I actually need to. I've only got like 65 subscribers on my email list, and I never email them. So I need to start doing that. But that's huge. I mean, and the other thing too about email is that you control who you send it to. Whereas social media, again, you don't always have control over who is actively following you, or who's going to actually see that post based on what time of day. Email, you're getting it to them. You just got to get past junk filters. But in most cases, if they subscribe, you're already past them. So that's a really good topic. A little stressful, but really good. All right, I'm back now. My head is reformed. I think what do you think, Megan? One more question, and then we'll kind of close things out.
Yeah, that works.
All right, so the Dirty Dooner himself, Jake Coleman, asked, do your sponsors require a press release, or is it more for you to track? Good question. And Sarah Danbury is stressed as well. You better get on this email marketing. Like, Sarah, I don't want you messing around tonight, you know, looking at other stuff on Facebook or rewatching this entire episode. You need to go to MailChimp and sign up right now. Just Okay, back to the question. Is it required for you to do a press release, or is that for you to track?
It's not required. Usually we don't always do a contract with the sponsor, but if we have an agreement, they just want to have, just like I said, just the news of knowing how you've done at your races, how you're representing them. It doesn't have to be a formal press release. That is what we do, because I have a whole media list that's separate on my MailChimp that I will write out a press release and send them just to that media list, so that way they can share it on their websites, such as Drag Illustrated or Competition Plus, or Drag Zine or Drag Racing Edge. So, and also just local media too, they're on that list. So it's not required, but it does not hurt you. It does take some time to write out a formal press release and to edit it and make sure your grammar is correct and to get quotes from other people, but it's worth it. And I've been writing press releases for 15 years, so I have a lot of practice of kind of the template of how to word everything, so I can just kind of write a few sentences and plug in the numbers and plug in some quotes and all that. So, so if you want to do formal press releases, I highly recommend it. Just get an outline of how you want to word it, and just kind of make sure you go off that outline every single time, and always mention your sponsors at the end of it, just a paragraph, and just list out who your sponsors are, so that way you can say that they are being mentioned in that press release.
Megan, you're blowing my mind still. A lot of good content. We're going to close things out, though, but I want to give people a little bit more information. So it's been a little while now, but you were on episode 52. So if you want more advice from Megan, we talked about press releases and a whole bunch of other stuff in episode 52. I put the link in I don't know if it's up or down, but I put it in the the main header of this live video. So you can just click on that link and go download her episode, listen to that. But Megan, I really appreciate it. This was phenomenal. Lots of good information. For people listening, if you are listening to replay, go ahead and type in #replay. But also you can type in a question as well. And we might not be able to answer it live anymore, but we might be able to go back through and kind of filter and ask questions or answer the questions. I know there's a lot on here too that we didn't get to. There's a couple of things that we didn't get to. Megan and I can kind of sift back through those and try to get those questions answered as well. But that's it. Megan, do you have any last minute closing piece of advice for us?
I don't think so. We did talk a lot about today, so I hope everyone takes it and flies with it and does the best that they can. And if anyone has any questions, please feel free to reach out to me. I can give you as much advice as I can. Everything right now is working for me, so I know it'll work for you guys.
Mm-hmm. That's awesome. Well, hey, you have fun and ride safe.